that's just ripping them a new one. But we actually do have some good things to talk about. Over the holiday break, Kevin Sumlin was fired and replaced by New England Patriots quarterback coach Jedd Fisch. And since then, he has put together, at least in my eyes, a very impressive assistant coaching staff. I mean, Ryan, give me your thoughts on this, because I think there was a ton of early criticism about Jedd Fisch and if he was even the right guy for this job. But after assembling this coaching staff, I don't think there's a lot of haters anymore, at least not from me. But I mean, what do you think of Jedd Fisch's new coaching staff?
I think the coaching staff is great. I mean, since the day they hired him, he received a lot of criticism on Twitter and on social media by people around the Tucson community, but I was always positive. I like to see a guy. I wanted them to bring in maybe a guy that hasn't been a head coach before, doesn't have that experience, but has a lot of upside. And a guy like Jedd Fisch has a lot of different connections, as you see. He brought in a lot of different highly regarded football minds from a lot of different worlds, from the pros, from college, guys that have played at a very high level. And yeah, there's just so much positive going on here. Like the one that jumps out to me and to everybody is with Dr. Blitz and Don Brown, with who was announced as the defensive coordinator, which was an excellent hire. His defenses the last 6 years, I believe, have finished in the top 10 in total defense, which is just incredible. And yeah, I think he's really going to bring that physical impact, and I think he's going to be a great influence to that defense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I was, one of those haters. I think Arizona should have hired Brent Brennan instead for San Jose State. At least that's what I thought when the news first dropped. But I'm going to fully accept the L on this one and say that I was wrong about hating on Jedd Fisch. For me, I mean, I was initially upset because, leading up to the hire, Dave Hickey was preaching that, whoever the next head coach was going to be, someone who understands the Arizona tradition. It sounded like the next head coach was maybe going to be a former Arizona player or an alumni or something like that. And it was kind of starting to feel like that. He had a lot of meetings with the alumni, and it felt like a slap in the face, when he kind of, out of the blue said, yeah, Jedd Fisch is going to be the head coach, not, anybody else who we've been talking about before. But I mean, I don't know anymore. I think you got to give him credit, right? I mean, the coaches that he was able to bring into the staff. I mean, you mentioned about Don Brown. I mean, that was an A+ hire. A guy, of his coaching caliber and his past success at Michigan has no business being in Tucson. Like he is so much better than Arizona. He's a great defensive coordinator. I think he's going to be probably the best hire of this coaching staff. I love Chuck Cecil. In my opinion, is another one of those dudes that is overqualified. I think he's way overqualified to be a defensive backs coach. Like that dude could probably be a legit defensive coordinator somewhere. Brennan Carroll, son of Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll. Being the offensive coordinator is awesome too. And the same thing could be said for him as well. I mean, he had a great gig in Seattle, right? I mean, coaching with his dad, and probably would have been next in line to kind of climb the ladder in the Seahawks coaching staff. So the fact that he kind of jumped ship in Seattle to come here really tells me that Brennan Carroll wants to be here. And the guys that Jedd Fisch brought in actually want to be here. It's not like they're just taking this gig, because it's just their next stop in their coaching career. These dudes want to be here and, change the program as a whole. And we totally heard that in the virtual press conference yesterday with the entire coaching staff. I mean, almost all of them, you could just hear the passion, behind their voices, every single one of them. They had high praise for Jedd Fisch. They really liked working with him, and they all sounded like they were on the same page, which is not really something we really had last year with the other coaching staff. But, I understand how easy it is to kind of say all the right things, but this staff is doing an incredible job so far. Really just rebranding this team.
Yeah, and as you said, the coaching staff feels like more of a team, as a group together, that they keep preaching the message that, and Jedd Fisch has been saying something I took away, which was important, is they want to build this program together. It's not one person, it's not a few, and and guys will leave. Like, they want to be here for a few years, it sounds like, and they really want to build this thing up, and they truly believe that. And they're saying that I love and everyone loves is it's personal. And as you talked about, and as we said in months past, there has been branding, and that's part of the new branding, and could really get those players that recommitted and came back. I mean, as we saw, the top 4 receivers all were entering the transfer portal, and it seemed like that, like within a minute, you looked up and they all were back, and that doesn't happen by accident. They obviously believe in the message in a short period of time without even stepping on the field yet, which led by Jedd Fisch and the other coaches, that they could get something done. And like you said, like Don Brown, it's like he was at Michigan, like in the Big Ten. I know they struggled this year and haven't been up to their expectations that they should be, but like Michigan's Michigan. I don't care what their record is, what year, it's still a very highly touted program. And to come here, he must believe in this, because he must believe what they're putting together here, and it's really inspiring.
I don't think we should be concerned at all about Michigan's struggles last season, right? They were destroyed with COVID-19, and they had games canceled left and right. Dudes opting out. Like, it's tough to win in those circumstances. Like, he was every year except for last year, he was top 10 in total defense. So like, that's a dude you want to have on your coaching staff. And you mentioned earlier, they're not just saying the right things, they're actually doing it, and we've seen it so far. I mean, bringing back those 4 wide receivers, who were in the transfer portal and decided to come back, and they had confidence in the new staff, and they're bringing in transfers from other schools as well. Isaiah Rutherford, who was a 4-star corner from Notre Dame, like bringing him in like that's a home run of a transfer, in my opinion. And I think the most impressive thing that this staff has done so far is, obviously, they're bringing in a bunch of guys, but I heard at their press conference yesterday that they're contacting every single high school football program in the state of Arizona and personally calling them and like introducing themselves. Like, that's crazy. Every single Arizona high school program, like, that is not, we've never seen that type of dedication from, past coaches. And you don't have to do that. Like, that's not part of your job. Like, obviously part of the job is, being friendly with the coaches, but you don't have to call every single high school program in the state of Arizona. And to like actually, build that conversation. He was saying that it's going to be more than just a phone call. He wants to have weekly discussions with all of these high school coaches. Like, that is crazy. You can just see the dedication in Jedd Fisch and this coaching staff. And it's such a breath of fresh air. Like, we'll have to wait to see what the product is on the field, but they're going to have some work to do, but they're doing such an awesome job right now. And I really don't have a lot of negative things to say about, this staff and the way that they're building this thing up in such a short time too. It's only been 3 weeks. I mean, it feels like forever ago, but it's only been like 3 weeks and they've already done all of this. So, imagine how much different and how much better this program could potentially be, when we're looking at the start of next season.
Yeah. And it's only going up from here. I mean, as we saw last season with that disaster in Sumlin, losing 13 straight games and not winning last season, it can only get better from here. It can't get worse. So I mean, they don't have high expectations. People didn't have high expectations for them, and they're just out there proving people wrong, and that's what their whole message is. And another thing that today was a little, which wasn't that great. They've got people that have recommitted, coming back, but losing 3-star quarterback Clay Milton is a big loss. I mean, this QB room, basically, they just lost 2 of their top probably 3 quarterbacks. I mean, I'm counting Grant Gunnell, and I mean, Clay was coming in, so he would have been part of that room in a few weeks, which is that room right now is Rhett Rod left. They're really hurting. They they really only have 2 quarterbacks, I believe, on the roster right now.
Yeah, we were saying that Arizona needs to bring in 1 or 2 more quarterbacks even before Clay Millen left. So I don't think we should, sell this thing short. Clay Millen deciding to decommit is really tough for this program. And It's really interesting too, because I mean, why would you decommit from this program? So like, especially at this point in time, like he had to have obviously had an offer from somewhere much bigger, because it felt like something special is building here in Arizona. Like I don't know why you would want to leave unless you have a big Power 5 offer that is just clearly better than Arizona. But if you're just going out there and you took your name and put it in the transfer portal and not know your exact destination, that's kind of sketchy. I don't know, but he obviously knows what he's doing if he's going to leave and decommit at a time like this. But it's certainly tough. They're going to need to bring in. I was thinking they needed at least one, maybe two more without Clay Millen. So now I think they need at least two or three more quarterbacks, because they've got, I think, two guys on scholarship, two quarterbacks on scholarship. I thought Clay Millen was probably, he had a decent chance to start next season over Will Plummer. So that QB room is definitely in shambles right now. But there's a lot of time left. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in the portal still, so we'll have to see. But that's not something that we should be, selling short. That's actually a pretty big deal that we lost Clay Millen.
Yeah, I mean, they're 100% going to bring out at least one more from the transfer portal or something else. I mean, you can't have two quarterbacks, obviously. Like we saw last year, they were running through quarterbacks quick. And Will Plummer, I mean, I'm not down, like I'm not out on Clay Mill. I mean, I'm not out on Will Plummer yet. He showed some flashes last year, and maybe like with this new coaching staff and maybe like a full year to see what he has. Maybe he could shine by himself and not with anyone else around.
Yeah, Plummer's